Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with another layout using the January kit. This is the 14th layout. It took me an hour and 20 minutes and I'm showing you what I have left. I don't have too much left. I did have one full sheet of or a couple sheets of pattern papers that were still in, still full, and I count that to the fact that we had a 6x6 pattern paper pad because it freed my 12 by 12 so I could keep my 12 by 12s as backgrounds, which I totally loved. If you've been following me for a while, you know that way back I had a really hard time using pattern paper as my background. And for a while, it was like my challenge to use more pattern paper as the background. Now I seem to have less trouble with that. I do use quite a bit of pattern paper as the background. This kit here, I end up getting 16 layouts done, and I know that's going to be it because I did the Killer Kit video and I kind of put away what was left to put away. There was not much left. A few scraps of pattern papers, which I move to my February kit, and a few of those transparencies. And that's it. There was no embellishments left. I think I had 3 stickers left from that sticker roll, and that's it. And that feels pretty good. Like, that kit was killed. And today, which is, what day are we? March 3rd. I'm going to move on to the February kit. And if you saw, I have the video where first of all, I show, what my haul or whatever, what I got from the kit. Then I show you how I divide my kit up with the iris containers and the iris trays. And then I show you my next step, which is I choose the pattern papers. And then once that is done, then I choose a whole bunch of pictures. Then I sit down, I decide which pictures go with what, and then I throw in some embellishments. And right now I think I have 8 layouts ready to go. So as soon as I'm done these voiceovers, because I want to get a couple of voiceovers done today, and but as soon as I'm done that, I'm just going to try to get a few layouts done. We got a message on the Hip Kit Club yesterday from Kimberly saying that there was some stuff that were late from American Crafts, so our March kits won't be mailed till tomorrow or Thursday. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, good, because I haven't even started my February kit, and I hate it when I have that next kit sitting there and I'm not done that first kit. So that usually I get it around the 18th, so maybe now I'll get it around the 20th, 21st. So I'm hoping to get my February kit like just pumped out and just done with it. And that I'm back on sort of on track and using the kit that is kind of current. Not that I find I'm far behind, because I mean my kit, I got it maybe a week ago, and so I'm going to start working on it today. So that's not too bad. And I just love getting as many layouts as I possibly can out of one kit because, as the saying goes, that kit doesn't owe me any money. I got 16 layouts done, and I feel like I got my money's worth. So for some reason, I am on this grid kick. Okay. And I'm just noticing as I'm getting these layouts done, or the voiceover is like, okay, another grid. Okay, another grid. And I don't think I noticed as I was doing them because the layouts were done quite far apart, because I just started to feel good about mid-week last week. And before that, I was only getting maybe a layout done every second day. And this weekend, I only got 1 layout done. But I'll tell you, I have it all uploaded to my iMovie, and it's over 3 hours. It took me over 3 hours to get done. So that's going to be a long voiceover to do. So I'm going to try to see if I can cut it down a bit. But It was a mixed media layout, so it took me, I spent a lot of time on it, but it was a lot of fun to do. And I played with, gelatos and that kind of stuff. So it was, and a lot of the scraps that was left from my kit I used up on this layout. So I think that'll be the next layout I'm going to share, even though it was the last layout I did, because it's taking up a lot of room on my computer. 3 hours, that's a lot of room on my computer. My computer, I'm always dealing with things being, almost full. So whenever I can get a big video like that off, I do, because it takes up too much room. So I use that polka dot pattern paper, and that's a Dear Lizzie Serendipity, and I absolutely love that pattern paper, and I love the backside too because it's navy. We don't get a lot of navy pattern papers in these kits. So what I'm doing now is, I know I want to use that navy again in other layouts, so I just kind of marked off where that aqua polka dot is going to, and kind of cover, and I'm going to cut out the inside. Sorry, I thought I was going to have to sneeze, but no sneeze. I cut out the inside so that I can use the navy pattern paper somewhere else. Totally had a blank spot there. I couldn't think of what I wanted to say. So now that I have that cut out, I'm ready to start cutting down. And what I did was, this is pictures of my son. Last year, we had gone to a tournament in Prince Edward Island, and people that are not from around here, I'm sure you've heard of Anne of Green Gables, and that's where that whole history of Anne of Green Gable is, and her house and the movies and everything. So we had gone for a tournament there, and they got cut out at the very end in a shootout, and it was like, it was heart-wrenching, and they were like heartbroken too. So what we decided to do is, the day that the finals were, which they weren't in because they got cut out, there's a university on Prince Edward Island, and they have this amazing pool. So all the parents, we all decided that we were going to take our kids there and let them play for a couple of hours before we head home. And they had a blast. So there was this rope that they could kind of, go across the water and then drop, and they had a blast, and we ended up staying there about 2 hours. And so this is pictures of my son. He's going across, and then when he drops, and then when he ends up in the water. So, and it was funny because I ended up taking, I think I took about 200 pictures of the kids in, all the kids from the team. And I was just about ready to put my camera away, and somebody comes from the pool and says, "Oh, you're not allowed to take pictures." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I looked at the parents, and I'm like, I took 200 pictures, and they come now and tell me, like, I didn't do it on purpose. There was no sign saying that you weren't allowed to take pictures, but I had my share of, and I wasn't taking pictures of kids that we didn't know either. It was just kids from, our team. And believe me, with 17 kids, no other kids were around them. I'm sure they were trying to avoid them, because 17 boys, they were quite loud and rambunctious and having a whole bunch of fun. But the funny thing is, you think that the kids were going to get in trouble, but no. My husband, the coach, got in trouble, and one of the lifeguards came and talked to him and told him to stop doing what he was doing. And all the parents laughed, because it was like, "Oh yeah, good example, coach." And I can't remember what he did. I think he tried to, I can't remember what he did, but it wasn't, anything big. He tried jumping where he wasn't supposed to jump or something like that. Anyway, the parents all thought that that was funny, that, the coach is the bad example for the kids. So we all got a pretty good laugh from that. I just wanted to really document this afternoon that we spent at the pool, because it kind of finished off that tournament. It was an awesome tournament. The kids had a blast, and we had, during that tournament, we had a ton of refs come up to the coaches after the game, and some parents. The team that we lost against in a shootout went on to win the whole thing. But after the game, the parents from that team came and talked to some of the parents from our team and said that, they were the best team that we've played all year, and also it was a good game. Like, it was a good clean game, and it was just hockey. There was nothing, like a lot of, it wasn't rough. Like, it wasn't, because it's house league, so there's no checking, there's not supposed to be any checking and that kind of stuff. But a lot of times there still is, and so it ends up being kind of a stressful game, because it just gets out of control, kind of thing. But there was none of that, and the coaches or the refs, went to my husband after and said what a good great team of kids that we had, and they kept their head on, and even if they lost, they still had a good attitude, and so it was a really good tournament, even though they didn't make it to the finals. And so it's just a good memory to document. And what I ended up doing was I used that aqua with the teal polka dots sort of in the middle of my layout. And then I had some other pattern papers that I really love. That's aqua with the teal words. Love that one. So I just cut 2 little strips, because I don't know why, but it wasn't so much trying to conserve it, but even if I was trying to put a bigger piece under there, it wouldn't work because I had already the other piece glued down. So, I just kind of cut slivers of that aqua with the teal words, and then the navy pattern paper that I gutted out from the middle. I cut 2 little strips and kind of layered that. So it looks like it continues throughout, through the whole underneath, but it doesn't. So, and that's fun too. Now, from that Dear Lizzie September Sky, the Heidi Swap September Sky pattern paper, that was all the flowers, and I cut it all apart. Well, there was a few blue ones, and so I knew I had to use it on a blue layout. And I don't usually like to put flowers on, my son's layouts, but it doesn't really look, it just looks like a dark element, like a dark die cut. So I'm okay with that. It just kind of is something that creates a base for my embellishment clusters. So I'm going to tuck those flowers in, and I went into my stash because I found like I didn't have enough embellishments left. I'm getting really at the end of this kit, right? This is layout 14, so I'm really running low on embellishments, and I had a few it was sort of minty color. But once I put it on this layout, because of all the blues and the aquas and stuff, it looks kind of tealish or aqua-ish. So, ended up working out really good. But I just found like I just wanted to put more into the clusters. So I just went into my stash, and I went into some October afternoon die cut packages that you can buy from them. And I don't even know what it was. I just randomly went through them and found anything that had navy on it or aquas and teals, and just brought some of that in. And I'm going to cut them in half, and tuck them under here and under there, and try to use them up as much as possible. Now, there was some stickers from that Dear Lizzie Serendipity, the sticker roll with the tags. There was a few of them that had sort of pineapples on it, but it kind of had navy on it. So I just kind of tucked it into the layers. You can't even really tell that it's pineapples, so it just adds interest to the clusters. Now I took a Prima ink, I think it's Blue Jeans, and I just put it on all the embellishments. And there's even like a little die cut there that's kind of a fan. But once I end up putting all the embellishments on top, you can't even tell there's a fan there. But even at that, you could kind of say, cooling off, because, they weren't. I mean, it's the middle of winter, so they weren't hot. But like I said, it's pretty much covered up. So there was a little transparency that said stay rad, and then a big ampersand. And I just thought I'd make that part of the title just because it was, it was there. So I'm going to put stay rad and then the ampersand and then have fun with some small, what are they called? Sticky, what are they called? They're from October Afternoon. They're the round ones. They're not the mini market. They're the other ones. But anyway, they're in navy and aqua, so I really like them. And I'm going to use them for the layout. So basically, now all I'm doing is I'm just kind of putting the bigger elements to the back and then kind of building up on top of that. And all I'm making sure is, as I'm putting down my elements, I'm just making sure that it's touching more than one thing so that it kind of puts the group of embellishments together. Because if you leave gaps, it can do a couple of things. It can make it look that it doesn't belong with that group of elements or die cuts. And two, it can create some white space and trapped white space. And basically all that is that, in between two embellies or die cuts, there's a big space there that you're like, isn't there supposed to be something there? And it just kind of makes as you're looking at the layout, it makes you stop on something that normally you should just kind of go over and then go right to the pictures, right? So one thing that I did too for this layout is I just made my embellishment clusters right around the photos, because that I did sort of a grid at the top of the pictures and then at the bottom of the pictures. I kind of kept the grid sort of in a vertical line, and I just made it all the way through. But I didn't want to take away, the grid is really busy, so I want to keep the focus on the pictures. And then from, once I got that format down, then it was just a matter of tucking in the embellishments and everything into place. And I ended up using a lot of embellishments on this and a lot of little pieces of pattern papers. And so that was fun. I love getting at the end of a kit and just finding different ways to use up those scraps, because the last thing I want to do is to stick those scraps into my scrap room. Actually, last week, what I ended up doing, under my desk, I had like a few baskets, and one of them was full of scraps, and the other one was all my 6x6 pattern paper pads. And I don't know, just because the underneath of my desk just felt like it was full, it was bothering me. Like I every time I walked into my scrap room, that's the only thing that I focused on. Now it only took me about maybe half an hour, and I cleaned all that out, and I just got rid of a whole bunch of scraps because they had been there for, I'd say, 5 years untouched. Well, obviously I'm not going to touch them. And to me, it's just hindering on my brain, and my creativity, because I was so focused on that stuff and just, okay, I got to get rid of that. I got to get that cleaned up. That now that it's all cleaned up, I don't know, I just love it so much more. So the last thing I want to do is to add more scraps. So when I'm finished a kit, I like it that basically if I have some pattern papers that I love, I'm going to move it forward to the next kit and try to use it like I did with a few layouts in this kit. You'll see when I do the Killer Kit video, I kind of mentioned all ones that were from previous kits, and I moved ahead and I got them used up. So that's it. Here are a few close-ups of the layout, and the page is done. So thanks for watching. Bye.